This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring a discussion on increasing Indian strategic maritime importance. The participants are Vice Admiral Satish Soni, defense expert, and Rajesh Lake, anchor.
Admiral Soni, how is India approaching a swift and smooth execution of the Prime Minister's Maritime Amrit Kal vision with an ultimate goal to make India the global maritime leader by 2047?
You see, to be a maritime power, firstly, we must understand that India has a strong dependence on the Indian Ocean region, over 95% by volume and about 70% by value of our trade is through the seas. And we are a peninsula which is jutting into the Indian Ocean, 1,000 miles. We have a long coastline, 7,500. We have island territories, over 1,000 of them. So for India, it is extremely important to be a maritime power if we want to have a place on the high table in the Committee of Nations. Now, how does one become a maritime power, and how does one realize this vision that you have just spoken about? You cannot realize this vision by only having a strong navy or a strong coast guard or just being muscular. It has to be overall development of a response by whole of country approach towards the waters that surround you, towards the oceans that are around you, and towards the geography which has been bestowed upon you. So we must embrace technical advancements, we must improve infrastructure, we must enhance our efficiencies, we must have very conducive business environment, because for improving infrastructure you have to attract foreign partners. We must be able to enhance port capacities. We must facilitate port-led industrialization, hinterland connectivity, enhanced coastal shipping. We must revive and use our inland waterways. We got such a wide network of rivers. We must use them. Shipbuilding, ship repair, and recycling. So there are a number of initiatives that we have to take all around, and the government has put in place many initiatives in the last 8-9 years, starting from 2017 when we had the Sagarmala initiative, a program which was launched, and more recently we had this Global Maritime India Summit in Mumbai in October, where we closed over 360 MOUs worth about 8.35 lakh crores. Then we have the Maritime India Vision of 2030, and of course the Maritime Amrit Kal Vision of 2047. These minor initiatives which we are following, making green hydrogen hubs in ports and under the Panchkarma Sankalp. So a number of initiatives are on the way, and we will speak about them in our discussion as we go along.
So you mentioned the Panchkarma Sankalp, and also the government is working towards making ports break into the top 25 ports of the world. And for that, how important is this Panchkarma Sankalp?
Under the Panchkarma Sankalp, the aim is to have, green hydrogen hubs in various ports. But under the Sagarmala program, more than 800 projects worth 5.74 lakh crores are already in progress and will be implemented by 2035. You see, we must understand that of the first, 10 ports, the world's best 10 ports, nearly 5 are the Chinese ports. And as the minister announced in his press conference, we want to be a part of the top 25 ports to begin with. So that is the first ambition the first aim that he has laid down. So as of now, out of these 800 projects which were identified for Sagarmala, of which some have been completed, some will be completed, and about 237 projects worth 1.22 lakh crores, these have been completed, and 262 projects worth 2.4 lakh crores are in progress, are being monitored, and another 310 projects which are of smaller denomination, they are also being done. And most important, as of now, because this program is absolutely current, I think it is the Global Maritime India Summit, under which, as I said, we have concluded 360 MOUs, and under that we have taken many green initiatives. Port-led modernization of 0.75 lakh crores has been concluded. Trade and business, 0.7 lakh crores. Knowledge exchange, innovation, ship repair, etc. And we've laid 1.6 lakh crores for that. And it is worthwhile mentioning that in the financial year 22-23, a total of 177 projects were completed. And currently 162 projects for 1 lakh crores are in progress. So these are the initiatives which are going to propel you into the top 25 ports of the world. And number of new, small and big ports are being commissioned.
What about you mentioning the green hydrogen hubs? And they have also received encouraging response to set up green hydrogen hubs at particularly Deen Dayal Port and VO Chidambaram ports. Could you elaborate on the green hydrogen hubs? What is the objective of these green hydrogen hubs, particularly keeping in mind the Chidambaram Port Authority and Deen Dayal Port Authority?
Today, we live in an era of climate change which is induced by harmful emissions. Now, hydrogen is extremely important in all facets, and you need to have hydrogen if you want to do anything, any industry. And how is hydrogen produced? If you are going to use fossil fuels for producing hydrogen, you are not going to be liked for the effect that it is going to have on the greenhouse gas emissions. So therefore, green hydrogen is the talk of the day. Everyone wants hydrogen to be produced, but in a manner which is environmentally friendly. And for that, initiatives have been taken, but that's very minor initiative as compared to the other initiatives which we have taken. And it is not only infrastructure development which is going to add to your maritime capabilities, it is the connectivity between ports, your own coastal routes, connectivity with your inland waterways, and the building of more dry docks. There is an international ship repair facility which is being built by Cochin Shipyard at a cost of about 970 crores. And there again, the Cochin Shipyard indigenously is building zero emission, zero noise vessel. So these are some of the initiatives. There are many initiatives, but the fact of the matter is that today India is looking at the maritime sector in its entirety. And I would say for the last 10 years we have been looking. It is just that every time the number of projects increases, number of players increases, the number of sectors that we look at, they increase. And in addition to what the Navy needs to do, because if you are going to be dependent on the oceans, if you are going to be dependent on your trade, and if you want to safeguard this infrastructure, you have to be secure at sea. And that is where the role of the Navy and the Coast Guard comes up. And I'm happy to say that there are, distinct improvements in the vision of having a strong Navy.
Admiral Soni, you mentioned about the waterways, and powering our waterways remain a major focus for the ministry, as the Prime Minister has also given direction to revive and rejuvenate inland waterway system to power the economy, to reach its next logical destination of becoming world's top 3 economies. So how are the waterways being powered?
Waterways, firstly, the government few years back increased the number of national waterways, which means you are giving more importance and you are telling the states to also start using it. If you want to use a waterway, an existing waterway, you have to make sure that you maintain a certain depth. You have to make sure that there are going to be jetties en route. You are going to ensure that there is hinterland connectivity to the ports on the inland waterways where goods can be offloaded. You have to make sure that there are small repair facilities for the ships that ply. And if you would have noticed last year, there was an announcement that India is going to host the longest river cruise, which starts from Allahabad or Varanasi, if I'm not wrong, and goes right, across many states, ends in Brahmaputra. So these are some of the initiatives which the government has taken recently.
I think in the pipeline, or already started on October 14, is the India-Sri Lanka International Ferry Service, from
that
Nagapattinam,
is.
India to Kenes Santhurai in Sri Lanka.
This is a route which used to be used by the mariners. Nagapattinam was a flourishing port at one stage, and so was Kankesanturai on the northern coast of Sri Lanka. And there used to be linkages, so they are being reconnected. And there is a Jal Marg Vikas project for capacity augmentation of the inland waterways, which we discussed some time back. Whether it is tourism, now the Director General Lighthouse, they are promoting lighthouse tourism. Now, this is a small initiative, but 75 lighthouses have been identified. And I'm sure that overall development, would help not only tourism, but the maritime sector as well.
We would like to have your views on the launch of Amini, the fourth ship of ASWSWC project, which happened on November 16.
The Indian Navy is a modest navy, the most powerful in the region, ranks very well by numbers and the technical content and the capabilities. We operate all types of ships from aircraft carriers to small boats, and all these ships have been made in India. In addition to whatever we have, there are over 51 ships under various stages of construction, of which there are only 2 being made abroad, which is a repeat order and an old order. But today, the focus is on indigenizations, and that is where, INS Amini comes in. Now, INS Amini is a shallow water craft. It's about 7 to 800 tons, has a length of about 77 meters. It will have sonars. It will have integrated platform management systems. It will have auto power management systems. It will have a rocket launcher. It will have torpedo tubes and a fairly good endurance, about 18,000 miles. So the 1800 miles, but the aim is to hunt for submarines which may be lurking close to our coast. The aim is to nab terrorists such as, wanting to land on the coast for anti-patrolling duties. And as they add to the numbers, there are now 16 of them which has been ordered, 8 by Cochin Shipyard and 8 by GRSE and L&T Katapuli combined. First one was launched sometime this year, and within a year, 4 of these vessels have been launched. Launched is the first, phase of construction where, the hull touches the water. And all these 16 are expected to be delivered by 2026. So that is quite an achievement on indigenization, especially as 80% of the content of these ships is indigenous. So I think that is a very important aspect of this launch of Amini, that is, it has contributed to building ecosystems of a maritime industrial complex of the system and of maritime construction and promoting that. That is, I think, a very important aspect of the Arnala class. Amini is in the Arnala class of ships.
Amini has been launched to the invocation from Atharva Veda, and the ship has been named Amini to signify the strategic maritime importance accorded to the island of Amini in Lakshadweep, located about 400 km west of Kochi. The significance is nice, Admiral Soni.
Yeah, and also I must add that we had another ship by the name of Amini. It was a Petya class corvette which we had inducted from the erstwhile Soviet Union. And we sailors are very superstitious people, and we feel that the ships, they have souls and they don't die. So when a ship is decommissioned, the same name is carried forward. So Arnala class, Arnala was the first of these shallow water craft, was also a Petya class ship that we had inducted from the Soviet Union, and Amini falls in the same class.
So on that note, with best wishes to Amini and to all the projects that we are going to undertake during India's aim to lead global maritime sector with the success of PM Maritime Amritkal Vision. And with that note, Vice Admiral Satish Soni, we thank you for being with Akashvani.
Thank you so much.
You were listening to a discussion on increasing Indian strategic maritime importance. The participants were Vice Admiral Satish Soni, Defence Expert, and Rajesh Lake, Anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on a mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks @gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.